you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Man, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what time
Sorry.
is it over there right now? You said it's like 8 right now?
Yes, 8 p.m. So I'm
Okay,
in my
okay.
pajamas.
No, no, I hear you. You're like an early bedtime person or
Yeah, I'm trying to get up earlier, so I'm going to bed earlier. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
early riser.
But before this all happened, I remember I started doing that. Like I was going like 7 a.m. training at Marcelo's. I was getting up at like 5:30 every morning. I felt so
Oh,
productive.
I'm not that
And that
hardcore. Yes,
and,
I'm gonna get
and
there.
and now I'm just a damn mess. Sometimes I get up early, sometimes I don't. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Um, so it's funny. I wanted to get you on because I really wanted to talk to you. I really wanted to get to know you. But our social media member here is like a huge fan of yours, and I think I heard that she started jujitsu because of you. So
Oh, really? Oh,
also, yeah.
cool.
So also, if you notice, if my conversation shifts from like jujitsu to like how you keep your hair good, just know that's probably her.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I'll bear that in mind then.
So, Matt, what have you been up to during this time? What's your schedule been like during this whole weird period?
Well, I can do a little bit of training, just
Hmm.
like with my boyfriend and like or two other people because they live in the same household too. And that's kind of it. So we just train every day,
Yeah.
um, only once a day, and it's really hot here, so that's good. And then other than that, just like a lot of yoga. So just
Okay.
trying to, I don't know, just trying to get more flexible and stuff like that. But yeah, it's kind of hard because I love competing and there's just no, as far as I know, there's like no plans so
I
far, and
I
it's so up
know.
in the air.
I know. That's what drives up my anxiety during this time because I just have no idea when competition would be coming back. And I don't know what you think. I'd like to know what you think, but for me, it's kind of hard to imagine like, international competitions being able to come back really anytime soon because I can't imagine them allowing thousands of people from all over the place, coming to these events and stuff. I don't know. What has your thought process been on that? What do you think is going to happen?
I'm like kind of hopeful. Darragh had like a rumor that it might be like Worlds in November. I don't know where he heard that from, but I'm hopeful that that's going to be a thing.
I
But
know.
realistically, I don't really like. I was like really surprised. I was like, really? Like Worlds could be in November? No, I don't know that at all. That's not
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That's a rumor.
I'll take it.
Before
I'm
someone's
crossing
like,
my fingers for
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. But like, I would be so happy with that. But I don't know. Like, part of me's also a bit like, oh, but will I be ready by then?
I know.
So
I
I've
know.
never had as long time off as I had to. Like now I'm training again, but like it's, I don't know. I still feel like I feel like I didn't need a break, you know? Like I feel like I'm so far behind everyone and I need to catch up so much that having a forced break, I was like, I need more time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I'm kind of the same thought on that. Like, I really, especially being in like in New York, New Jersey, it's been hard for me to train. I've only done a few sessions over these last month and a half. I've been working out. I feel like I'm in good shape, but I know it's different. Jiu-jitsu is completely different than doing like a row machine workout or something like that, or doing
yeah.
push-ups.
Oh, it
It's
really
not the,
is.
yeah, it's not the same. So
It's
I'm
not
kind of, I don't
fun.
know. It's
It's
not,
just nothing is fun
oh,
like jiu-jitsu.
no, no.
Well, I
So
mean, some people might disagree, I'm sure, but
yeah, our CrossFit people probably don't like to hear that right now, but to me, I don't care what they say. It's not fun. It's not fun.
no, I mean, fair
Um,
play, but no.
yeah, I can imagine that'd be really bothering you as well because like Europeans was so big for you. You like just probably wanted to keep up that kind of momentum, just for it's
Yeah.
all. Isaac Dutterland said something. He's like, man, they should have just made that worlds. So they should just translate that over. It's not Europeans anymore, but that was the world. So you got double gold
Double
at worlds.
gold.
Yeah,
I would be very happy with that. I really wish. I was
yeah.
thinking that I was like, this is my year. Like, this is the year I'm gonna do it. Like, the first year wasn't meant to be, and then I was like, this is the year I'm gonna do it. And I felt so good, and I had like the best performance I've ever had, and I was like, this is perfect. And then literally this happens. I was like, I couldn't have, like, could never have imagined the
The
world would
only,
have just been
the
turned
only
off. Honestly,
the only way for them to stop you is to have a pandemic. That's it, right?
I wish.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess what I've been asking a lot of people is, has there been anything else besides like working? Would yoga be something that you usually do, or is this something you're like kind of incorporating with this time that you have?
Like it's something I would do, but never properly, if I'm honest. Like I do it like, oh, everyone in the gym, literally we go in like an hour early and like before the class, and everyone does yoga. Everyone's doing like a flow before class, and it's not like the warm-up, it's just that Darragh is so big into yoga that people will see him do it and they'll just start copying him. So like I would just kind of just go like, okay. And whereas now, like I'm trying to do it properly, like follow classes and things like yoga for BJJ, and then I kind of started to get it. I'm sure like some people feel that way with jiu-jitsu, where they kind of turn up and like, why is everyone so like cult into this? But like I feel like I finally get why people get obsessive with it, and like, you can kind of start like doing like flows and stuff. It kind of feels not like rolling, I know, but I noticed when I was rolling that I was being way more like athletic and being using flexibility a bit more, and like I obviously just like technique because all that. But if you've got attributes, like why not use them? And like I was trying to, I don't know, be a bit more but I don't know, I was trying to be more creative when I was rolling and stuff, and that was fun. And I feel like not because of yoga, but I don't know, maybe that helped. Maybe
almost kind of like just having yoga kind of in your mind a little bit. It kind of just almost translated a little bit.
And I've been watching a lot of jiu-jitsu though, so it might also be that I was just like, I've been watching loads of like matches, and then I'm just like, I'm gonna try everything in this role and not really realize.
Have you been like trying to experiment with stuff as well? I guess this is kind of the time, since there's really nothing coming up too much.
Yeah, I was actually not like to be fair, but I was watching loads of Marcelo Garcia, like old like
good
stuff.
choice.
And Darragh's big into Marcelo. That's basically how he did jiu-jitsu, was Marcelo online. So like I've been trying to play loads of X and stuff, which I don't really normally play, because everyone in the gym is so good at standing in X because of Darragh playing it. So like I don't know, I just started playing it more recently, and now we're doing like no-gi stuff. So like it's just like playing around with that, and like just like watching footage and stuff, and like trying to incorporate new stuff. So it's
just
fun.
trying to
keep fun actually.
That's cool. You kind of you almost have to keep training just kind of fun and trying new things, I feel like, at this time, especially since I don't know, so much stress and anxiety going on right now. You know, it must be nice to have that release, man. I miss training. I need to figure something out soon. Like, even if this is one person, I have mats right here, but I haven't really been able to use them. I'm like I'm sitting on mats right now.
Oh, really?
I know.
You should just like lure in like a passerby, just be like, come and fight me.
Do you want to learn something? That's not creepy. Actually, I live on like a ground floor as well. So there's like homeless people walking by my area all the time. Maybe, you know, just one of them wants to learn
just to lure them in.
You
just like, I have snacks and these mats, and let's try.
Can change your life. Can change your life. You don't even know. Now that I got silly, I forgot what I was going to ask. Damn, I really forgot what I was going to ask. All right. Well, in that case, I guess I'll go to background a little bit. I remember we met years ago at like I did a seminar in Wales.
Yeah, in Wales, yeah.
And tell me a little bit about that. I remember I heard a little something on flow that you were mentioning it, but I kind of know what happened afterwards. But tell me about that day. Did you say you almost weren't able to make it or something?
Yeah, I actually didn't make the seminar. I was in work, which is, I know, I'm sorry. And I was like super gutted about it. There's like a lot of stories where I miss a seminar and I'm like sad. Like there's a few times I've missed seminars because I had to work. And then I like ran, like everyone was like, they're still in the gym, they're still rolling. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna run over. I like ran to the gym and I just like peered in and I was like, oh, look at all the cool famous people. And I got to like roll with like Gary and stuff, and like everyone was basically done. And now I realize, now I do seminars, I know how like annoying that probably is, just to like wander in and be like, can I roll? And everyone's done and you're just like, like now I get how that would be super annoying, but at the time I was just super enthusiastic and just like, all the people I see on the internet are there.
No, I remember that being a really cool room. I think it was me, Gary, Eddie Cummings, a couple other people were there. It was Polaris. Yeah. It's funny. I remember that too, because Gary, I remember we were hanging out after, was like, oh my God, that was the strongest girl I've ever trained with. You know, I think he posted something, and from what I remember, that kind of generated a little bit of a following for you from there. I remember, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're right. It was that, and then after that, I went to Nogi Worlds and I won. And there was like I won the absolute as well. and
Hmm.
I threw a really big girl, and then like that video kind of went like not viral, but like went around a bit, and then I got a few
Yeah.
followers, and I was like, oh, cool,
Nice. You take it.
exciting. Yeah,
Yeah, you got to take those little moments and
yeah.
take advantage of them. Um, but that's not what you did exactly before. What? So tell me a little bit about your timeline with training a little bit. I'm curious. I was trying to figure it out, but I didn't really know. So before
Mm.
jiu-jitsu, you did judo, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I started with judo when I was like a kid, like 8 to when did I quit? I quit at like 15, and then I went back to it only for a year, really, as fitness to like just, I got really fat. So I trained judo my whole life, pretty much from like a kid till I was in my teens. And I didn't realize how bad my diet was until I
Hmm.
stopped. And I went from training every single evening to like doing nothing and having all this time to eat.
Yeah.
And eating a lot of food. And I just rapidly gained like, I don't know how much weight I gained because I didn't weigh on purpose, but I went from, oh, it's really hard for like US sizes and also you're a guy.
I
But,
understand kilos. I understand kilos. It's okay.
but no, I mean like dress sizes, that's the only thing I could go on.
Oh,
I
oh yeah,
didn't
yeah, yeah.
weigh. But I went from people who know about UK sizes, it's like a size 8 is what I am now, to a size 14, which
I can
is,
imagine that sounds like a big difference. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, a very, very big difference. Um, like literally in the space of a year, I gained that. Like so, and then I
Man,
just got back into judo for like fitness, and then I finished judo because I was like, oh, like there's so many rules, and like I'm just not that into it anymore. And then my friend from school, or like he's in my brother's year group in school, he was doing MMA, and he'd like, there's an organization called Cage Warriors in Europe, and he
hmm.
just like won the title of that in his division, and I was like, oh, that looks really cool, like cage fighting. Like I always thought of like really rough people would do cage fighting, like you'd hear like cage fighters, and you'd be like,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah, yeah.
But I was like, oh, I'll give that a go, and then I heard about like Ronda Rousey, and I was like, well, she did judo, and she's very successful.
Yeah.
So I ended up starting like MMA, and my coach of MMA was just like, well, you have to do groundwork and jiu-jitsu. And I was like, oh, I hated niwaza in judo as well. Like whenever I'd lose, I'd get like submitted. Like
Yeah.
that's like the main way I'd lose. Like I didn't get like thrown that much, but like if I went to the ground, I'd always get like a GG roll, like a rolling armbar. And I
Yeah.
never like the level of niwaza was really bad. And like we just didn't know how to train properly,
Mhm.
um and I hated it as well. And then I was like, oh, I have to do groundwork. I hate groundwork. And then I loved it so much that I ended up being like, I don't want to do MMA because
Hmm.
I feel like I have so much to learn with jiu-jitsu, which is basically just judo, but now I can do everything.
Yeah.
And like it just keeps going, doing like until there's like an actual finish, not just like a fall on my back. It just made way more sense to me. And yeah, that's a long rant. Sorry.
No, 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 it's good. It's good. No, I
But,
mean, just to go back just a little bit,
yeah.
I'm a newbie interviewer here, so if our questions kind of get a little screwed, just bear with me here. But yeah, I did want to ask like what kind of you said your friend, so see, newbie. So
No, no,
you took about a year off, and then you tried to go straight into MMA. You were gonna do that.
yeah. So like I quit judo, and then there was like a year. Yeah, I think it was about a year, and I just did like weight training and like went to the gym like a normal person,
Yeah.
which I'd never done before. And I was like, this is like so boring, and I'm just doing it because I don't want to be fat. And I
Yeah.
don't really like, I don't want to be fat because that's not healthy, but I was also like, I don't really care that much what I look like. Do you mean like I don't want to
Hmm.
look like a circle rolling down the street, but at the same time, I was like, I'm not that asked about like, can I swear? I'll try not to swear, but
You can say what I swear all the time. It's okay.
okay. I'll
I,
try not to, but like, sorry.
I'll do it
Um,
before you do, so don't worry.
but like, I wasn't like that. I wasn't that motivated to not like, I don't know. I didn't want to be in that good shape. Do you know, like, I'm the kind of person who like, I like being healthy and fit, but I know I have to sacrifice a lot of food that I like to have abs. And like, I don't want abs that much. Like I'll go,
Was it
oh, wish I had abs, but I don't really like doing.
was it something that like maybe if things got really serious, it was like, yeah, maybe that wasn't for you. You kind of like to keep it light or kind of casual almost. Was that kind of like a thought process, or maybe
Um,
a reason as to why you didn't stick with it?
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of hitting the nail on the head there. Like I did judo for so long and it was so serious and it was like Olympics, Olympics. I wanted to go to the Olympics so much. But at the
Wow.
time it was like, I want to go to the Olympics, but in anything. It wasn't
Yeah.
like because I love judo, even though like I really think it's great and it's fun. Well, not so much when I go back to it now. It really hurts actually. I didn't realize how much it hurt. But
Yeah.
I wanted to go to the Olympics. I want to be an athlete. And I just remember when I was younger being told you're really strong. And then like in school, they'd like get like, oh, we need some of the boys to come carry the tables into another classroom. And I go, okay, we'll take 3 boys and Ffion. And like we'll have Ffion and then 3 guys. And then like because it was like a thing where like, oh, Fion's the strong one. And I did rugby and like rugby, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
ball tackling each other.
That's rough. That looks really rough.
Yeah, it's like
You did
running and
that?
then tackling. I loved anything that was like really rough.
Damn.
And I just like really in my head, I had such an identity of being strong and wanting to be an athlete. And so like, I was like so focused on wanting to go to the Olympics. And then I just went totally over the way, like the opposite way, where I was like that kind of like failed during it was getting to that point where I didn't realize that I needed to work harder because it was always like, you're good. And then I didn't realize that because like when you're a kid and then you start winning, and I was winning tournaments when I was younger, it was like I couldn't figure out that like you can get better at things if you work harder. I
Yeah.
know that sounds really stupid,
Yeah.
but it's
Well,
like a
at
fixed
that time, yeah,
mindset.
it's easy. Yeah.
It's like a fixed mindset. It's like, oh, I'm good at it. And then these girls started to overtake me who like started a bit later, like still as a kid, but started later. And they started to overtake me. And I was like, wait, like how does that happen? So now I'm bad. And it's like, no, like they're just like, they started a bit later. So like they kind of figured out how to work hard. And I was still
Yeah.
like, I'm either good or I'm bad. And like, okay, I'm bad now. So I don't want to do it. And it was kind of like that. Sorry, that was again, like going off on
No,
a
it's
weird
good.
one,
No,
but,
it's good.
so it's like, whereas now like I feel like jiu-jitsu really helped me flip that mindset so much, and like maybe something else would do that for someone else, but like because you see that progression so much, and it
Yeah.
was like as a direct thing of like this is a new sport to me. And I know it's similar to judo, and there's like lots of crossovers and definitely a really great background to have.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it was like, oh wow, like it's so vast, and you can like there's so much to learn. And like I could see, like I was so obsessed with it and so into it. I'd never felt so obsessed with anything ever. Like not with judo, not with anything I've ever liked. I liked a lot of things, but like I've never been like so obsessive where I've gone and like voluntarily like studied jiu-jitsu. Like
Yeah.
right now I'm crap at studying jiu-jitsu. Like I'll watch it and like I couldn't tell someone else like I was doing like, but like I'll go in a row, I can feel myself start to do the move because like I'm not like the best learner. Like I'd say I'm a slower.
You're more of like a physical learner. You like have to be in
Definitely.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and like a lot of people, like my boyfriend is so good with drilling, like repetition. And he loves drilling and he like swears by it. And I can't drill. Like I do drill, but
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
find it so hard. And I don't know if I'm just doing repetitions in judo, just like 1,000 times. But like I find it so hard. Whereas like let's like give me an idea, and then I'll take that idea into a role and I'll try and do it. And he's like, no, like how you can't just do that straight away. And I'm like, but I have
Why
to. That's
not?
how I learn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like it's
So
so funny how it's so different, but works for both of us.
So, I mean, there's always different ways of learning. I remember years ago, me and Kit Dale had like this big debate about like whether drilling was better or whether positional sparring was better. And we were going back and forth on that. And I remember I was like your boyfriend. I was like all in on drilling, you know. But then
Yeah.
after years passed, I got tired of I still drill, but I'm not as into drilling as I used to be. I'm like, it gets a little boring sometimes, you know?
It's like
So,
the thing is like I think it's just a mix of both. I think it has to be a
yeah,
middle ground.
absolutely.
It's like with anything. It's like I know that I can't just go into a role and then suddenly do a move. Like that's not going to work. Like, and that won't work for most people. It might work for me because I have that athletic background. Like, let's be honest. But like for like Jane in her 50s, like she's gonna be like, what? You need to go get this concept and do it in a row. She's gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
So like it really depends on like how you learn things. And I think that I do drill because I know it's beneficial and I have to, like I should. But then I know that I I really click with a technique when I do it in like positional sparring or like just
Hmm.
go and roll and like that. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. I mean, like you said, it's like different for everybody, and everyone learns differently. I mean, I remember, I'm probably gonna make fun of him right now, but I remember when I was in Henzo's, I used to drill with Gary a lot, and he was like the worst driller ever. Like because we did like a competition training that I would run, and I would show like a certain technique. I'm like, guys, let's drill this for 5 minutes each, blah blah blah, and he never did like one single rep the same, like, or he never did it. You know, it was always different, and it was always I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like
You
doesn't
know,
even move. What doing?
so drilling really wasn't like his thing, but obviously it worked out well for him. You see his style and you see how his game is, and you know that works for him. You know, and sometimes drilling works for other people.
Yeah.
So going back to judo a little bit, I mean, like I can imagine there's a lot of qualities in it that really helped you with jiu-jitsu. Are there like a few that you can really say like were like the biggest that like helped in that transition over?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I think the biggest thing was that athletic background. Like I think obviously it's grappling as well, and I felt like when I went to do weight training, for example, I knew like I could start off on quite not heavyweight. Like if you told a power lifter, it's definitely not heavyweight, but it was like above average
For
in
me, it'd be
strength.
heavyweight too. For me, it'd be heavyweight, so don't worry.
Yeah. And like like it was pretty good, not like super good, but it wasn't like, but like everyone was like, you're so strong, and then like some other girl would lift way more than me, but like it's like that grappling strength, Dream. Like I don't know how to like that gripping,
Yeah,
that squeeze, and like I just had that, and that was a huge thing, and just being so used to being close to people and that being completely normal. So like I
yeah.
remember just like teaching girls, like I taught a girls class when I was in Wales, and like they'd giggle like about being close, and I was like, what is wrong with you? Like
I
why
know.
why is this funny? Like I don't understand. um but like because I just didn't have that perspective. But definitely the athletic background was the biggest thing, and obviously you're grabbing a gi, it's grappling. Like I find it so weird when there's like debates about judo and jiu-jitsu. It's
Yeah,
like which is better? It's like neither is better. They're the same thing with different
yeah,
rules.
yeah.
Like I think they're the same thing. It's like, oh, judo you throw them, there's less time on the ground, but it's the same thing. Like judo, wrestling, like jiu-jitsu, it's jiu-jitsu is just like everything, but like you could just keep going, like in my head,
Yeah.
because you've got the freedom to do whatever you want except for punch each other. Like I know there's IBJF and there's certain rule sets and whatever, but like you can have sub only, no time limit, and that's literally just like everything all together, and there's no rules, just don't punch each other. So
Yeah.
I find it really weird when people are like, oh, one is better than the other, and I'm like, it's the same thing.
I hate the debate. They're too, you can't compare, or you can, but it's like just don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Yeah.
wrestling much harder physically. I did some wrestling yesterday or something, like on the
Yeah.
feet, trying or not wrestle it. We're jiu-jitsu people, so it's not really. And we
It's
were
it.
like, like just dying straight away.
You
It's like
go you go
just
about 5 minutes of like hand fighting. You're like, oh, screw this. That's
yeah,
at
and
least
we've
that's
shot
me.
like once each, and we're just like, yeah, should we just pull out? It's so tiring.
Yeah.
But that's why I like with jiu-jitsu, you can just keep going for ages, because like if you're efficient and using technique, like good technique, it shouldn't be super tiring. And
Yeah. I think people always ask me about like my cardio because I'd always be the one that would want to train a lot, spend a lot of time on the mat. But for me, it was always just about being able to pace yourself really well. Like
yeah,
if I go crazy for 10 minutes straight, I'm for sure going to be dead after that round. But I
yeah,
always tell people, I'm like, I know how to control myself, whereas maybe the blue and purple belts will just kind of like destroy themselves in that round, not know when to pause and when to go, then they kind of
yeah,
kill themselves that way. My cardio is like, whatever, it's normal.
yeah. I don't think
But
my cardio is that good. I think it's just that like you just kind of learn more technique and you become more efficient, and you're like, it's not worth the continuous bridging in bottom side control. You're like, I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to wait for them to make a mistake, maybe, instead of just
yeah, yeah,
bridging
yeah.
into them and getting really tired. So
Yeah, kind of just pointless movement.
yeah, like I think you just kind of, I don't know, you just get better and you know when to move and when not to move. So that just appears like good cardio, but really I'm awfully unfit. And if you make me run,
So
I'm going to be terrible.
someone asked me like when I put out like that question thing for you, someone was like, "Oh, what type of cardio does she do? Do you do anything off the mat or now like
Jiu-jitsu.
jiu-jitsu?" Yeah, yeah. I was
I tried to run. Again, I was like, because jiu-jitsu is so like it's so, your mind's so active, and I'm sure runners get some, obviously they get something out of it, you know what I mean, but like I'm sure that there's like a thing I need to unlock there that I'm struggling to, but I was like, I just can't, I can't like push myself like that hard. This sounds so lazy. I'm meant to be I just can't push myself. I'm like, this is not fun. I want to do fun things. I want to fight a person. Like I might run at someone in the street, green, like, or run with a ball. Literally, I think if you pass me a rugby ball, I could run with the rugby ball.
It's got to be
just pass it to someone, or
it's got to be something more than just like incoherent running.
Yeah, like I like sport. I don't like fit. I do like fitness, like, because I think being fitter is going to be better for jiu-jitsu, right? But like, I like sport, but I'm not that into fitness. Does that make sense?
I get it. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like now during this time I've had to kind of do the reverse because I don't have the jiu-jitsu like I would like to. But, you know, on most normal days, I would prefer the jiu-jitsu over the fitness. I remember like I used to run a bit when I was a kid, and my dad used to do like triathlons, and he did like the Ironman and all that stuff, like where you do the swim, bike, and run and all that crazy stuff. And I think you remember him asking me like, "Oh, would you ever want to do something like that?" I was like, "No, hell no." You know, keep me in my little like 10-foot square circle. You know, I'm not going anywhere there. I'm just gonna stay on the mats. Yeah. Never into that. Yeah. I mean, so you talked about like how, you know, you just became obsessed with jiu-jitsu and training, but was there like a certain moment that you had, or like just a session, or just what was like kind of the clarity moment, if you would say you had one?
I was like really in between of MMA and jiu-jitsu, and I was really like, oh, you know, maybe I should just focus on jiu-jitsu and get that good and then go back to MMA. And like that was kind of like the plan. But I think really I was just like, I was really just getting deep on it, and I was just really enjoying it. And I liked sorry, I'm just going to close my window because
you're good. Go ahead.
But I was like kind of feeling a bit like, oh, you know, I'm really liking jiu-jitsu, and I like the MMA side, and I like the striking and stuff, and I found it really fun. Like, and obviously it's very taxing, and I love that, and challenging. But I felt like I wasn't going to be good at anything because I could do a judo throw, like, and I wasn't that high level judo. Darragh wasn't Olympic level like Ronda Rousey. Darragh, and she ended up not being rounded enough, or when the better girls came through, if that makes sense. And and I was like, well, I don't have like a specialty or anything. Darragh, I'm not rounded, and I don't have a specialty, so I'm basically just like a ticking time bomb of getting killed in an MMA fight. So, and I'm like, I could recognize that, and I just hadn't fought anyone super high level yet, because I was able to like use jiu-jitsu as a blue belt against skills and win, and like with no striking, and that's really like, that's scary. Fight someone who's like a purple belt and gonna kill me. So I was like, oh, I'll focus on jiu-jitsu, and then like I'll go back later on when I'm better at jiu-jitsu. And I think I won with Nogi Worlds at a blue belt, and I got double gold, and I was like, this was the coolest thing ever. Like this is the reason I didn't go to Gi Worlds. I didn't know it was a thing.
What's that? You didn't
like, I knew it was a thing, but like no one went there. Like none of the people I trained with went to Worlds. So I was like it wasn't a thing. Like if you're in the UK, like it wasn't, like people obviously go now, but like it's so far away, so expensive that
was no-gi more of a thing at that time? Was that kind of like more the predominant?
No, I mean, like for me, like it wasn't like I didn't know so much about it, like the competition scene or anything. And like I'm not in the like here, like in Europe and stuff, you're just not in the loop so much. Like it's different now because obviously like there's more people going over and stuff, but like there was hardly anyone going over. So it wasn't like a thing that people would do is go to Worlds. So we go to Europeans because it's a 2-hour flight and like €60 for a flight, whereas like Worlds is like 500, and then you got accommodation, and it's so much more expensive than here. Like it's so much, no, not Dublin. Dublin's expensive, but in Wales, like you can get a coffee for £2 during like, and my dad would complain about the price of that. So like you can't make that much money because it's not a wealthy place to live, so you can't really like, you can, but like it's hard. So not like a poor me, but I'm just saying it's hard to get out there. And then like I just saw about the Nogi Worlds and I was like, oh, well, I'll go to that one. June, I was like, okay, well, I like Nogi too.
Yeah.
And then I won and I was like, oh shit. Like I thought I was gonna lose first round. I was like, I'm not gonna win or like do well. But it'll be a cool experience. And then I won and I went to the absolute and then I won and I was like, well, that's great. And I was on my own and I didn't have any friends to celebrate with. And I was like, there's like some American girls who were like, well done, that was good. And I was like, oh, thanks, strangers. And I was like, well, that was nice. And I just went back to my hotel room and I was like, cool.
Cool.
And just binged on some chocolate. But then I was like, that was really sick. And I want to go to Worlds all the time.
Yeah. So that's
yeah,
kind of what started it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So you said you didn't go in with like kind of really any expectations, but then all of a sudden like that moment was like, oh man, maybe I can actually do something with this. So from there, it kind of pushed you to keep, staying on that path, right?
Yeah.
Just to clear it up. Yeah.
Because like I trained with guys, like mainly guys. There's hardly any girls I could train with, and well, they were like, "Oh my god, you're so good," and I was like, "Yeah, but like I'm the only girl." Or like you've rolled with like a beginner girl or something with like no athletic background, no judo background, and you probably just think like, oh, she feels so good for a girl, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, like here, like they think I'm sick, but like I'll go to America and it's gonna be completely different, which I think is the case a lot of the time. But it was lucky that I went out and I was like, oh, actually, I'm all right. Like, like,
Yeah.
And I know Worlds hasn't got the same numbers as like Gi Worlds and things like that. And I think at that time it was kind of fortunate that I didn't go to Gi Worlds because I maybe would have had an awful experience, maybe would have like gotten absolutely killed, and then maybe I would have been discouraged because I wasn't quite the same mindset where I have now, where it's like, oh, you lose and then you just bounce back, and you just can't you can't carry that with you so much or take it to heart so much, because otherwise you'll never compete and you'll just hate yourself. So I'm at that time, I'm glad that didn't happen, because I maybe would have taken it a bit too hard and been discouraged. So
yeah, I do want to get into like mindset a little bit. That's something I've always wanted to ask people, like kind of what their different approaches is, especially when people kind of go through ups and downs, which is what we all go through. What are kind of the processes? But shit, now I forgot what I was going to ask again. Damn it. I don't know what's going on.
You do very well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, you're good. So from there, like I remember you were coming to the US a little bit. You were training at Unity. What was kind of like those lower belt times as well? And then eventually I saw you more with Darragh, and you were training with him. But what was kind of your path to eventually find him and that gym?
Yeah, so I was in Wales and my ex-boyfriend had opened a gym, and we were like, this is how little people there were training. It was like you couldn't train in the day. It'd just be me.
Okay.
And like, or maybe one other person if they didn't have work that day, it was like, that was like how little people there were. And then the evenings there'd be lots of people, but no one would like go and compete, like it was just me going out to the competitions. One, because again, it's expensive. And then also it's like all the people have jobs, like that's not their priority. I'm the only person who's like working a job I was working like a nightclub door person.
Oh really? You're like a bouncer? Oh wow.
No one thought I was a bouncer, and they would walk by me. I'd be like, "Excuse me, sir, I need to see your ID," and they'd be like, "What?"
Most deceiving bouncer ever. I would never expect that.
Yeah, but it
was
really
big,
good,
tough guy.
because they'd be like, they'll be in a fight, and then I'd be like, "Stop," and then they'd stop because it was a girl, and they'd be like, "All right, okay," and I just leave.
Did you ever? Oh, so they would never like. You never
they would sometimes if they were super drunk, but very rarely. Like most of the time, if you send a girl over, they'll just like go, oh, okay. But if you send a big muscly guy, they're like puff their chest
they want to
up.
try to show what's up. Yeah.
Whereas I was just like, oh, like, do you mind just leaving? Like you're being a bit, rude, and they'll be like, oh, sorry, love, I'm so sorry, and then just leave. So that was good. And then like I remember there was one fight and the guy was like swinging and I was like body locking him and I was like like trying to wrestle him, and then one of the guys went, wait, it's a girl, and they all just stopped. They like trying to swing, and then they saw it was a girl and they were like, oh, sorry.
But would you also be kind of like, I don't know, what's the thought? Is that like kind of offensive, like, oh, because it's a girl or something like that? Or
like I think old me would have been offended, like, hey, equality, try and punch me. Whereas now I'm like, no, I'm really glad. I'm really glad that that they were like, oh wait, because I don't want to get punched. Hence the no MMA. But
Yeah.
sorry, again, off topic. What were you
No,
gonna
it's okay.
say?
It's okay.
Oh
I
yeah,
was just asking about background and how you eventually found Darrah's.
yeah. So I'd go over like we'd go over to Darragh sometimes because we were like under his gym, like as an affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
And because my ex Bryn, he met him at a seminar. Like Darragh did a seminar in Cardiff, and well, you were, and he was like, oh, like he was so cool, and he's only in Ireland, and it's so close, and they had loads of guys training, and who were like going to Worlds, and I was like, they go to Worlds? Oh my god, like teams that go to Worlds, how cool! Like from Europe, that's
Yeah.
like not many
Unheard of.
teams
Yeah.
do. Yeah, like
Totally.
not many teams
Keep
do. Like
talking. Keep
now,
talking. I'm still there.
like now they do more, but so like I'd go over with him and like do a bit of training, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And like sometimes I'd go on my own even and just do some training too, because like I was like, I want to be around these people who do the thing that I do. Like you know, you naturally want to be around people who are seeking the same goals as you. And and like I was also like in my head I was like, do I need to move to the US? Like because I went out to New York and I did some training, and I went to Unity, and I was like, this is the hardest training I've ever done. Like I'm way over my head. Now I know Unity is probably makes everyone feel like that. But I was like, I am way over my head. I was literally just like laying in a puddle of sweat on top of someone at one point, like in their clothes guard, just like laying there.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't moving. I was like, I'm not moving. I can't move. And
Yeah.
just literally
You're
dying.
incapable of moving. Yeah.
And I was like, this is what I need to be doing. Like what? Like there's nowhere to do this where I am. And I was kind of freaked out a bit because I didn't know how far I could go. Like now I'm a bit more like, they are hardcore, you know, like there's lots of hardcore gyms, and you, it's okay.
So was that like kind of a place you went to earlier on? You're like, holy shit, is this what it's like? Or I can't handle this. But then you realize
like, I loved the hard training. It was like, but I was also like, I don't have these people who can, like, it wasn't the same. Like I was like the only girl, or like there were other girls who I was like training, but they were all white belts, so like I could do what I wanted. And then the guys I was rolling with were like 80 to 100 kilos. So like have no idea how I'm actually doing against them. They're obviously going really light with me. And even if they weren't, they'd either hurt me or I wouldn't learn anything anyway. So it was really hard. And it wasn't their fault. It was just like the circumstances, you know, like that's, you know, it was just like they had, you know, they were training well, but like you just didn't have the people there at the time, and no one was wanting to go to Worlds or anything. And then I'd go over to Ireland and stuff, and I'd do a bit of training here and there. Because it was way cheaper to fly there than the US. And also Darragh's got such a good vibe at the gym, and it's hard, I'm sure like you feel the same with your gym, and you just like click with people really well. And we had a lot of girls there who were like, now they're like purple belts and like really good to roll with, and like lots of girls who compete as well now. And I was like, that's so cool, I can roll with these girls, and like this is awesome. Do you know, like it's so good to have, like it feels like it does in competition. This is crazy. And like the guys there were really small, and they were doing bear and bolos, and I was like, they're doing bolos? And I was like, a bolo? Like I tried to learn that one time, and the person basically just gave up on teaching me. They're like, no, that's not for you. Okay. And I'm still learning, but like I kind of can do one, I think. And I really like them. I love them. I think they're so fun. And they work.
Yeah. They work. We're putting
very
that
well.
They definitely work. You better be saying that if you're talking to me here. But yeah.
And like my current boyfriend, my current boyfriend for now, he's really good at bolos and stuff. So I just like teach me them, because I didn't have a guard when I started there. When I moved, basically.
He hasn't given up on teaching you that yet?
Well, like, he's definitely frustrated, because I can do it in a row. Like, this is the thing. I can do it in a row. We'll do a drill. And he's like, that's not what I showed you. Like, that's completely different.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, is it? Ooh, I'm creative.
I mean, even for me, like, I don't know, maybe it was because I overthought it, but I would be able to do it in training my first 2 years of doing barambolos, but I couldn't drill it to save my life. Because
cool.
Yeah, I couldn't drill it. I couldn't drill it at all. First of all, sometimes maybe it was I blame my partner for not giving me the right reaction.
Me. There we
go. But also because like I would overthink it when I'm drilling. I would slow it down so much. I would think about trying to do everything right. So it never came out right. So I can understand. So tell them that. Like, there might be still some hope for you to make that happen.
I
But
like that it's so opposite to how like people would perceive my style to be.
mhm.
So I'm like, I want to be good at it just to be like, see, I can learn whatever. So
See, and
I'm
you
not just
can
aggressive.
someday you could just go into a tournament, pull it off, and be like, what now? What now?
Yeah, hopefully. I've done it in like the local like IBGF tournaments, but not in like a major yet. So like that's the goal.
That's the goal. That would have been the goal for this year.
That was the goal at Worlds final, but guess there's no.
Yeah, I know. It's a strange feeling. But I actually, the question I got stuck up on before I couldn't think of was how difficult was it when you weren't training with girls and then all of a sudden having to compete with girls? Was there like I mean, I can imagine the training to the competing must have been so different rolling with guys. Who knows what type of reaction they're giving you or the level of strength or whatever maybe it was. You're talking about how big these guys are. And then going in and competing with girls. Was it pretty tough or a pretty big difference between the two, or did you never really think about that so much?
Um, this is the thing. Like at first I was like, oh, it doesn't matter that much. Like I've always been in male dominated sports. And then like I'd compete against girls and like definitely at the bigger tournaments, like at Worlds and things, I was like, she's tiny. This is my division. She feels tiny. Like what's going on? And
Yeah.
I'd be so high up when I was passing and stuff and like they'd be behind me. I was like, what's going on? And it's such a different style because like one, they just tend to go towards different techniques. I think not that it's like all women do spider guard or something. I don't mean that, but
Hmm.
it just feels different. And I didn't think it was a big deal. And I think that training with guys, like bigger guys and stuff, it'll make you really tough. And that's a great
Yeah.
quality. It's really good to be
Hmm.
tough. But being tough is not going to win the major tournaments because those girls are tough and they're also super technical. And I was
Yeah.
seriously lacking in technique. And I just couldn't, like, I would pull things off. Like, it's the same thing as if someone's really strong and they could pull things off against you because they're strong. I was pulling things off against people because I was small. Like,
Yeah.
and like, people would be like, what are you talking about? Shut up. But like, I really was like, they maybe they weren't as accurate because I was smaller, or they literally like some people try to heel hook me in the gym and they're like, where are your feet? But like a girl would be able to get my heel because she's used to rolling with women and she is a girl and she'll recognize
Yeah.
we have tiny feet. So when I like roll with girls in the gym, it's so much more helpful because even if you're the best girl or like you can, still control the rolls, you can at least practice on people who are your size and who have weight
Yeah.
distribution the same way and who move differently and maybe move with more flexibility. Even if a guy is tiny, he's still got more upper body strength for you so he'll use that upper body strength during like, and not like just like stiff arming and being like just strong or like I don't mean that at all and there's no disrespect. It's just a different style and neither is
Hmm.
better or worse, but like it's like like most guys are like what 70 to 80 kilos, so that's like 170 pounds,
So yeah. You got it. You got it.
like
We'll just say
a
that.
light and middleweight, right? Feather,
Hmm.
light, middle, and then most of the guys in the gym are all that weight. Like,
Yeah.
and then you've got some big guys and you've got some really small guys, but most of them are like around middleweight, either a little bit less or a little bit above. So like they've got all these people to train with, whereas like if you're the only girl who's 60 kilos, like you might have a girl who's 50 kilos maybe with you, or a girl who's like 80 maybe, like
Yeah.
one other girl, maybe she's your size, great, but that's one other person. And that's like you're going to compete against lots of people your size. It's going to be different, whereas those guys have all these people to practice against all the time, like so
Yeah.
like you need people around you to train. It'll just help you progress. And like I remember a guy saying to people like, yeah, but like it's better to train with guys, good guys are harder. And I'm like, and they're like stronger and stuff. So it's like, I'm like, yeah, but that's way more tiring. And that's gonna I'm just be exhausted in a row and I'm not using techniques. Like I'm just gonna be super tired and I can't get
You
as
almost
much
kind of
training in.
you almost kind of think more about surviving and being tougher than you
Yeah,
actually do
I
think
don't want to
about
be tough.
going through the technique.
Yeah, I've been tough. Like I've done tough training like forever. I'm
You
bored.
do you do the tough stuff at the when you're bouncing at the club.
Yeah.
That's the tough stuff right there. You've done that already.
Yeah, like in judo, you do loads of like tough training and like a lot of stupid shit. Like, let's be honest, like lots of stupid things I did for judo training where like it was like serious overtraining. And like I've done that. Like I like training hard, but like I don't want to get beaten up, because I want, like, I like jiu-jitsu and how it's like, be smarter, like, avoid, like I don't want to be doing this, like running into someone, like clashing with strength. Like I want to like be smarter than people, because like I don't feel like I'm a naturally intelligent person at all. So like to me, like that's so like intriguing. I'd love to feel like a smart person. And like for me, it was like I was getting told so often, like, oh, she's really strong. And now people don't really say that now. Like now they're kind of just like, oh wow, she's so, like they might say she's flexible, or she's like technical. And I was like, technical?
All that yoga now.
I've always wanted to be called technical, and like if someone said I was technical, I was like, yes, finally. So it's like it's so switched now. But sorry again, I've gone off on a different thing.
No, that's good. I was just curious how that translation was, because I kind of think of that for me when I was a kid. I'm a guy. I've always trained with guys, of course, but like when I was a kid, like when I first started at Henzo's, I was the only kid there. And all I did was take private lessons for years. I wasn't old enough to train the adult classes. There were no kids at the time. So
Yeah.
going to compete with other kids was really difficult for me, I remember sometimes, because I would never actually train with kids my own age and my own size. So I
Yeah,
was wondering how that, I can imagine that's translation almost going to be somewhat similar there. So
definitely.
that,
Oh,
I remember that being difficult. Yeah. Like I couldn't get a hold of a kid because I would always be training with grown adults,
yeah,
who 9 times out of 10 were taking it easy on me, as well, so there was that as well. That's why I was
yeah.
interested about that. So now we have a pause. I wanted to ask a little bit about Darragh, and then I wanted to, how much time? We have about 13 minutes. I wanted to ask a little bit about, yeah, no, it goes fast.
Wow.
What makes Darragh like such a good coach for you? Because I see you guys really seem to have a good connection. Whenever I see you at the tournament, I see him, and whenever I see him, I see you. You guys are pretty inseparable at the tournaments. What are some qualities of his as a coach that really make you stick with him and trust him, and obviously keep going back to him?
So like there's the technical side, and obviously I trust advice he gives me 100%. Like I'm not like, oh, doubt that, I'm not going to listen to Darragh. Like if he says something to do it, I'll do it. Like like there's that element, but like more so it's the personable thing of like, I know 100% like he wants me to win, and like he wants me to do well, regardless if it's with him, with anyone else, or whatever. I know he's super happy for me no matter what, and I feel like, not that I haven't had that before, but like he's just so good with like, if I'm feeling a certain way, of like changing my mood and like just knowing how to deal with me, and like that like has such a solid belief in me, and that's obviously super encouraging.
Yeah.
And yeah, like just he's super kind. Like when I moved here, he was like, you can stay in my spare room, you can stay in my mother's spare room, during like, we're gonna figure out a way of you being able to stay out here, because
Yeah.
like I couldn't just, like, now I'm able to do seminars and make money, but like I didn't have a good contract sponsor. I had a good sponsor, but like I hadn't gotten to a level where I could have a good contract yet, where I could actually
Yeah.
get any money or anything. I couldn't really do seminars. Like I had a bit of money off World Pro, where I'd like gotten silver, and thus somehow had some money. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God. So I could live off that for a while, and I didn't have to pay rent then, and rent here is really expensive. So that helped me out so much. So like he's super kind and generous, and just genuinely wants people to succeed, and isn't like weird about people going and training elsewhere. He just wants people to succeed, and he's super passionate about jiu-jitsu. I've never seen anyone who's so into jiu-jitsu. Like,
Yeah.
and I love it, but he's like next level,
Yeah.
next level, like obsessed. So it's really cool. Yeah.
I remember I trained with him years ago out in like Seattle, somewhere in the U.S., and I'd only met him like once before that, but I didn't really know him super well. But I think, sometimes I could, especially like when I'm not getting ready for a tournament, I just want to train and maybe chat a little bit and then just go.
Yeah.
This was like I think it was like a week after Worlds, so I was kind of like in a chill mode.
Yeah.
And I remember I got to train with him, and I think we went over technique for about like a half hour after. I'm like, dude, can we get out of here now? He was so into it,
Yeah.
and but it was cool, and I appreciated it. And then he started getting me into it. So yeah, I wanted to go maybe after the first 5 minutes, but once we started getting into it, he got me like enthusiastic about it as well. But I've noticed that. I've noticed that like some of the best qualities in coaches are not like, you can show any technique, you can be a great instructor, but if you're not going to be able to be personable with your
Mm.
students and with your athletes. It's difficult to have like a strong relationship, but it sounds like having a good relationship, having someone that's supporting you and kind of pushing you and motivating you is probably the biggest thing you'd say, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I don't know. I was a bit concerned, like, oh, like, do I need to go to like the ultimate top gym? Like, you know what the top gym is, and so many top gyms.
Yeah.
And do I need to go to like fucking Atos or something in Green? And like, I don't want to. I don't want to go to America or anything. Like, I that's far
Hmm.
away from my family and stuff, and
Of
very,
course.
it's scary. And I think you just need to be in the right gym. Like, people who have the same goals as you, Doreen, like who are passionate and want the same thing. Like, I think that's a big thing, is like, you don't have to go to a huge gym, you just need to have a good environment. So like, yeah, I'm in like the perfect environment for me, and like, I'm not going to be going anywhere, like,
Yeah.
and I think like a lot of people are like, oh, like, why wouldn't you go to a big gym? It's like, this is a perfect gym. This is a gym that's going to like do so well in literally a few years, and there's so many good guys here that like, I get to train with all the
It's
best
going to
people
be
all
a
the
big
time.
gym.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I get to train with the best people all the time because it's not a huge gym, like, but all the best people, I get to have access to them all the time. Whereas in somewhere else, I may not get to roll with all the best people. And like, these guys will be doing really well in the next few years. So like, that's really exciting too. And to see everyone else kind of, you just need one person to do well. And then everyone else is like, oh, I can do that then. It's like a lot of the time I think it's
Yeah.
like, oh no, I can't do it because this and this. But the
Hmm.
level is like, is there.
I understand completely. I think it's just super important to feel comfortable where you are as well. It's one thing to have a million high level training partners, but it's another thing to be somewhere that you want to be daily, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even for me, like I remember when I went to Marcelo's, I mean, obviously Marcelo was there, but really there was no one else when I first got there. Like all the guys that became, high level black belts were still like purple belts at the time. And no one had really made a name for themselves at that point. But it was
Yeah.
a bunch of people who had like similar goals, maybe hadn't met them yet, but we all kind of were able to motivate each other. And obviously, someone with the personality like Marcelo, creates a good culture and a good vibe. And that's really like all you need.
Yeah.
It's easier to compete as well when people that back you, support you and you appreciate them and everything like that. So it's just a good vibe going into competing with them, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we have like 7 minutes, and sometimes it cuts us off.
Oh
I
no.
really want to. I really want to ask real quick. So you always did really well at the lower belts. I always saw you like always competing well, blue, purple, brown. Ups and downs. But was there any difference that you felt that would help you find that consistency that we've been seeing more of at black belt? Like, because you're always like right there, brown, right there, purple.
But just not
But then I
quite
just
right.
I. But then I noticed a huge difference in black. Was there like a mindset shift or something in training? What
Yeah.
if you were to pinpoint something, what was it?
Yeah, like I felt like in the lower belts, I was like not beating myself. Obviously, like, I had a lot of technique to learn. I still have a lot of technique to learn. I am a lot behind the girls. Like, they've been training jiu-jitsu forever, and I'm like not that far in. So I have a lot of technique to learn. But I think mindset wise, I can only comment on that. And like, I felt like at the lower belts, I get to like this to silver. I get a lot of silvers. I'm like the queen of silver.
We've all been there. We've all been.
I hate silver.
I have like 5 European silvers. So
It's worse than bronze, because like you nearly won, but then
yeah.
like, and if you got bronze, you're kind of just more happy to be on the podium. At least you're like, well, at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, yeah. Well, at least I didn't get knocked off in the quarters or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that feeling.
But yeah, when I got to black belt, then it was like suddenly there's no worries about what I need to achieve for a certain amount of time. So I've always had like time, like I'm worried, like I'm older, not older, but like I'm
I
25,
understand.
and I fight girls who are like 19 sometimes. So I'm like,
Yeah.
ah. And I was kind of like, now there's no pressure. Like, no one thinks I need to do well. Like, I'm a rookie black belt, and now I'm not a rookie black belt. And I was worried that maybe like the next year, then I'd be like, oh, well, now I should do well because I actually won a few things, and now people kind of know me more. But it's not like, I don't feel like that. I feel like way more free because I'm like, I've got unlimited tries at this. Not really, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I understand.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go back next year and keep trying. And like, the people I look up to most are the people who didn't get it easy, who didn't win straight away and win every belt and
Hmm.
then win all the time. And like, fair play to those people, but like, that's not going to be me, and I'm totally fine with that. I'd rather, I lose a lot, like, and I lose in very public, brutal ways. that are shared across the internet for all to see. And that's fine, because then it's like when I win, it's going to be super like enjoyable and big for me. Like I like being the underdog, and I like having to like really work for things. And like for me, it's like, it's kind of like I was like worried about being like stage fright and like choking, like not literally, but
Mhm. I
and
understand.
like, you know, you're on like, I get to the final, I just choke and I kind of like beat myself, and like I just like freeze and not even react. And
Hmm.
then like, whereas now I'm just like, I can't be. It was kind of that came down to like, I just can't be like that now. Otherwise, it'll haunt me the rest of my career, where I'll just have that problem forever. So I either have to get used to people shoving a camera in my face and like taking loads of pictures, which I was like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Thank you for the nice photos, but Jesus Christ, Dream, like I'm just about to go on the mat and I'm trying to focus. And I just like, you just have to get used to that. Like on one hand, you want that attention and you want people to appreciate you doing well. On the other hand, I wanted it to go away. I was like, I don't like it. Like, and it's
Hmm.
kind of just having to be like, you just have to accept it. You have to thrive in it. And like, I'd just watch other people who just learn to love it and just like take it on and like let it power them. I was like, okay, I don't like it when my friends and my coaches watch because it freaks me out. And then I had to just be like, if I act like they're always going to watch me, my Darragh's going to coach me. I need him
Yeah.
there. So I had to switch and be like, no, I love it. Like I just decided like that's not my mindset. I'm going to tell myself that I love that. I'm going to tell myself that I love when a big crowd comes over to watch. And I'm going to tell myself I love when Flo are filming me. I'm
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
myself that even if it's not true. And then also another thing was like, I wanted to be, okay, I'm not going to win all the time because my style is insane. I'm not gonna, and I get submitted a lot. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be as exciting as possible. And you can be very exciting and lose. Dream. So I want to win, but I just want to be exciting. I want people to watch my matches. I want to be someone who's like, oh, she's so good to watch. And then they can even forget that you've never won worlds, you know, like, because I've never,
Yeah. Would you?
I won world nogi, but
So do you feel like you're almost like? And I want to be careful because sometimes this cuts off a little early.
yeah,
But would you
I was
say
like
that?
rushing.
Would you? Yeah. Would you say that you feel like sometimes more performance driven than results driven? Like you'd rather just be
100%.
able to put, and then it makes it easier to find the results when you're less focused less on
Yeah.
the result.
It was like,
Yeah.
I just want to be like exciting as possible, and like I like try and like channel Leandra Lowe and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
pretend I'm Leandra Lowe. It's not me. It's Lady Leandro.
Hey. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad.
I
You should
wish
coin that.
like a really bad version and a female version of Leandro. But yeah, like, and just trying to be like, if I focus on being a person who's exciting to watch, then I know I'll always give my all in a fight, and I can't be sad when I come off. Now I will be sad, but I mean I won't be like as down as I have been in the past. Do you know what I mean? So it's so
Yeah.
much easier to go, okay, I lost. Next competition, let's go. Like let's be exciting again, and then eventually it pays off. I hope. We'll see.
Well, that's awesome. Well, this will be saved. So if anyone who's watching, you guys can see that again because I thought that was great insight right there. But I just before we get cut off, I just wanted
Yeah.
to say thank you for doing this. I really
Oh, thank
appreciate
you
it.
as well.
This
Thanks.
was fun. This was a very entertaining conversation.
Yeah.
Um, Guys, make sure you go follow Grip Tape and her, but I'm sure you're already following her if you're on here. So once again, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no worries. And thank you so
Hey,
much. That
yeah,
was
stay safe out there.
awesome.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Whoops.